So today we're going to talk about moral and life skills development. So I'm going to start it off with a question. Do you guys think that sports build character? This is a question that's asked a lot nowadays, and some people say yes, some people say no, some people are in between, but if you answer no, then you're probably focusing on examples of sports like cheating or violent behavior, and these things happen a lot in sports. You guys are all football players, so you're probably familiar with Deflategate, which is when the New England Patriots were cheating and deflating footballs. So if you don't think sports build character, then you're probably more focused on things like that. So this goes to show that you really can't build character by just participating in the sport. There has to be certain activities that force you to build character, and that these positive outcomes only come from certain things like that. So Veely and Chase actually says these positive outcomes occur when knowledgeable adults structure developmentally appropriate activities, model and reinforce appropriate behaviors, and take the time to discuss moral issues so that youth sport participants develop reasoning skills and reach higher levels of moral development. So that's on me as a coach to put you guys in the positions to build character, and it's also on you to take the initiative to apply yourself and really try to want to build character rather than focusing on the negatives like cheating and violent behavior. That's exactly what we don't want to do. So we're going to focus on taking the right approach to getting you guys to where you need to be to build character. With character comes life skills, and these are skills that are going to enable you to succeed in the culture that we live in. So these also include, life skills also include moral values, and some examples are physical competence, social competence, cognitive competence, emotional competence, and behavioral competence. And there's a run through of those right here. So you're going to get your physical competence from learning the sport and being physically active. Your social confidence is going to come from communication with your coaches, communication with your teammates, cooperation with them as well. You're going to learn, or you're going to use respect and empathy, whether that's towards your teammates, your coach, your opponents, your parents. All those count. Cognitive competence is going to come from your academic skills and your decision making. Emotional competence is going to be taking responsibilities and managing your emotions, which is something it's hard to do, and especially when you get caught up in the game, it's hard to manage your emotions, but that's something that you have to work hard at and apply yourself to do. And lastly, behavioral competence, which is going to come from your problem solving. It's going to come from pursuing goals and also contributing to our community. We do a lot of volunteering as a team, and that's going to go towards your behavioral competence. And these life skills also help you build qualities such as moral and ethical behavior. So you might ask yourself, why is this even important? What is this going to do for me? You might think it's a waste of time, but it's really not. So if you have these skills, you're going to learn human skills that allow you to function as effective citizens. And this is what your moral and behavioral qualities are going to be. So when you get out in the real world and you're by yourself, you're going to have an edge over people that don't have experience with moral and ethical behavior, and you're going to be a more well-grounded citizen. This can help you in so many ways, whether it's finding a job, whether it's just coming off as a nice person to other people. It's really just going to help you be able to manage yourself, and it's really going to be a positive outcome for you. You guys will also be able to reason through moral conflicts that come in sports, but also in life. So when you're getting these skills right now, you're going to be applying them in sports. But like I said, later down the line, there are going to be times in life where you have to make a decision, and it's not always going to be easy, but with your moral and ethical behavior and the human skills that you've developed, you're going to have a much easier time reasoning and solving that conflict within yourself. And then a few things that I threw in here, just knowing how to win and lose, knowing how to follow directions, communicate effectively, stay focused, and have sportsmanship. These things can go a long way in life. I mean, you're not going to see the end of this stuff. When you have a career, when you're 40 years old, you'll be working with teammates within your job, and that's something that you're going to need to know how to do, and your employer is going to want you to know how to do that, and you're going to need to know how to stay focused and communicate effectively, and these traits will go a long way. So before we dive into the coaching methods, I'm going to talk a little bit about sportsmanship. So sportsmanship is acting in a way that promotes respect and fairness in competition, even if the opponent gains from it. So an example of this could be, I know you guys don't play tennis, but if you're playing tennis and your opponent hits it inside the line, you could easily say, oh, it was out, that's my point. But if you're practicing sportsmanship, you're going to be honest about that. Even if it doesn't go in your favor, you're going to want to say that was in, that's their point, and that's just like one of many examples in sportsmanship. There's a picture right here of a girl who's clearly an opponent who's on the ground, and this young girl is taking the time to help her up. That's something, you do it because you know it's the right thing to do. You're not just going to let them leave there, especially if they're injured. There are several examples. Shaking hands after games, having respect towards your opponents, all come along with that. So it really involves a commitment to emotional control, hard work, and respecting others. And like I said earlier, emotional control can be tough when you're getting caught up in a game, in a sport. It can be frustrating. You're not always going to want to put on a happy face and congratulate your opponent after you lose to them, but it's something you have to do. You just have to do that. And like I said earlier, sportsmanship is just all about doing the right thing. So there are several things that you want to do that you're not always going to want to do, but you have to think in your head, this is the right thing to do, this is why I'm going to do this, and once you practice that enough, it's going to become a habit. And this isn't all on you guys, because according to the United States Olympic Committee, they said that a 2017 survey of more than 17,000 referees, parents, according to a survey of more than 17,000 referees, parents and coaches are actually the ones that cause the majority of problems with sportsmanship, but I'm here to make sure that doesn't happen for you guys. I'm going to constantly talk about sportsmanship and push it on you guys, and I'm also going to be active in letting your parents know, having your parents force that on you, and it's going to be drilled in your head, and you won't even think about it after a while because it'll just be a habit. So I'm just going to talk about some of the coaching methods that are going to help you guys along the way, and overall we're going to build ourselves to become better people and better sportsmen. So I'm going to start off with a little definition. Modeling is how children imitate the actions of coaches, parents, or professional players. So if you're watching, say, your favorite athlete in football, say Aaron Rodgers, he's a respectable man, you watch him, you want to emulate his actions. So what he puts out there, he's always shaking people's hands after games. He's never throwing a fit. It's something that children want to model, and there can be negative signs to that, like if an athlete is aggressive or violent, kids will try to emulate that too. But basically what I'm saying is you guys can model your favorite athletes. You probably want to pick sportsmanship type athletes, ones that are respectable. And also you guys can model after your parents and after me. So I will set a good example for you guys to follow, and I'm going to make sure your parents do that as well. And that's something that I'm going to work on throughout this entire season, because you guys are going to observe what is acceptable in our culture, and you're going to become aware of the norms and behaviors as they develop. So bad language, talking poorly to your teammates, violent behavior, none of that's going to be accepted in our culture. Respect, sportsmanship, compliments, those are all things that we're going to practice, and it's going to become normal for you guys. So I have a saying that we're going to talk about quite often, and it's respect all, fear none. So basically, I want you guys to respect your opponents, respect your coaches, respect your parents, respect your officials. It's all about respect, guys, because at the end of the day, that's what makes you a winner. Even if you lose, if you respect everybody on that field and if you put a good example on for everybody watching, that's what makes you a winner. And fear none. You guys will just want to have fun. You don't want to fear anything. You want to trust the process, trust what you've done, trust that you put in enough hard work to just have fun. And winning or losing, it doesn't matter right now. It's all about being a good sportsman and working hard and playing hard. So to continue on with my coaching methods, I'm going to lead by example and constantly remind you guys of productive ways to think and act. I'm going to always tell you guys to respect your teammates, respect others, and I think by doing this, it'll become a mindset that you guys have, and hopefully you preach to each other. When I'm not around, if somebody's talking bad to somebody else, I hope that one of you guys will be a leader and step up and correct their actions and kind of remind them of productive ways to think and act, because then overall we're all going to become better. I'll also have local athletes of higher age groups coming in to speak to you guys before practice, after practice. Hopefully just spark some inspiration for you guys about sportsmanship and moral behavior, because they have more experience than you guys. They've been through it all. They have the stories to tell. And they might be stories about how bad sportsmanship affected them in a negative way, or could be about how they were rewarded for good sportsmanship at the level they're at. It just depends on who we have in. We're also going to have a pledge, which I'll show you guys in a second, that it's going to be for parents, coaches, and you athletes, and it's something that we're going to repeat constantly, and it's really just kind of a rule sheet for you guys. It's probably stuff you already know, but I think the more that you look at it, the more you read it, the more you're going to act on it. There's also going to be a Sportsman of the Week award. I haven't decided what there's going to be a trophy. It's going to be cool, and if you're the Sportsman of the Week, you get to take this trophy home with you for the entire week. You can show your friends, show your family. It's really something you're going to want to have, and you're going to take pride in having that. So I'm hoping by doing this, you guys will compete to be better sportsmen, practice sportsmanship more, and I think it'll be fun. And then lastly, I'm going to always recognize coachable moments that come along with sportsmanship. So if we're at practice and someone calls someone else a bad name, or anything like that, and I hear about it, I'm going to pull all of you guys around and we're going to have a discussion about it of what you think we could do better, who's in the wrong, who's in the right, who needs to apologize, and how we're going to move forward from that as better people. And there's also going to be times where somebody has a nice catch and the defender says, "Nice catch, man," even though it was caught on the defender. If he's telling him nice catch, that's being a good sportsmanship athlete, and I'm going to actually let everybody know what they did, and we're going to talk about it, of how it was such a great thing that they did, and how you guys need to all be doing those things collectively as a team. So I'm just going to go over our pledge right here, and then we're going to wrap this up. So to start off, for players, I will play football because I want to and not because anybody else wants me to, or because anyone else does. So essentially, you're playing football for your own good. You're playing it because you want to play, not because your parents are forcing you to play, not because you think it's cool because your friends will think you're cool for doing it. You're doing it for your own genuine interest. I will respect the opposition, referees, coaches, and my parents. We spoke on this before. Respect, respect, respect. I will demonstrate good sportsmanship at practice and during games at all times. Talked about it before. This should be nothing new to you, nothing new to you guys. I will demonstrate good sportsmanship at practice. Oh, I just read that one. I will win and lose in a respectful manner. Like I said, winners are not determined by if you win or lose, but they're determined by how you win and how you lose. If you show sportsmanship after a loss, that's exactly what you want to do. It's not about winning and losing right now. You just want to be respectful and build character. I won't cause problems at practice, and I will treat my teammates like my family. This is huge. You're not going to call your teammates names. They're a part of our family. This is something we're going to practice. You're going to love your teammates, and together we're all just going to have a fun time, and we're really going to build ourselves up. And the closing thing is, I will respect all and fear none. Like I said, we're going to constantly repeat that. For the coaches, for myself, I will demonstrate respect and sportsmanship to my athletes. I will use coachable moments to teach players about sportsmanship, like I said before. I will listen to all feedback from coaches and players. I will listen to all feedback from parents and players. So basically, if you have an issue with a drill that we're doing in practice, if you have a issue with the time frames that I'm scheduling practice, I'll listen to that feedback and I'll try and make the experience better for you guys. And I actually appreciate that feedback. I'll constantly remind my players of productive ways to think, like I said before. I will never yell at an athlete for performing badly. That's huge. Those are learning moments. There's no reason to yell at you guys, just as long as you understand what you did wrong. And if you can understand that you could build on that and do it better next time, that's fine with me. I'm never going to yell. And lastly, I will respect all and fear none. Parents, I will not force my child to play football. I mean, this happens so often where a child doesn't even want to play a sport, but their parents are forcing them to do it. That's not good for anybody. I will be respectful to the opposing teams, coaches, officials, and players. That's important for parents. Even at games, if they're in the stands and they're yelling at opposing fans or opposing players or referees, we don't want any of that. Together we are a team, and we're gonna practice sportsmanship, and the parents are gonna lead by example by doing this. I will instill sportsmanship in my child's mind, so every day they're going to do what I would do at practice and talk to you guys about sportsmanship and what you can do better and how you can think better. I will correct my child's poor behavior at my house as I would expect a coach to correct it at practice. So name calling, violent behavior, things like that. Parents are expected to discipline their children for that at home and talk about what they need to be doing better. I will always praise my child for competing fairly and trying their best. That's important because you don't want to focus on the wins or the losses. You want to focus on your child playing fair, and you want to focus on them trying their best at all times. That's really what we want to focus on: working hard, playing hard, and being a good sport about it. And then lastly, I will respect all and fear none. So that's our pledge. We're going to talk about that a lot. We're going to have a good season. I hope you guys enjoyed this little talk and it inspires you to be a better sportsman and really build your character and build your life skills so that these are things you can carry on to the future. And I hope you guys have a positive attitude moving forward. And I look forward to a great season.